With Simba's daughter Kiara being scared of a storm, Rafiki takes it upon himself to tell her and Timon and Pumbaa the origin story of Simba's father, Mufasa. Film as YouTube. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Josh, your Movie Apprentice, and today I am looking at Mufasa, The Lion King, directed by Barry Jenkins and starring the voice talents of Aaron Pierre and Kelvin Harrison Jr. This is the sequel slash prequel to the live action Lion King. There was some morbid anticipation with this one because they are at least telling an original story, giving us the origin stories of Mufasa, the Lion King, the one that taught Simba all these lessons, whose death was felt across the board, and we get to see the origin of him and Taka, who would later be known as Scar. So there was potential with this movie. And unfortunately, it's another one of those Disney films where potential is just not realized. Whilst the technical masterpiece of the CGI and the realistic effects when it comes to the landscape and the lions and all the animals involved, that is all really good. But other than that, this is as generic as it comes when it comes to a story perspective. When you think of two brothers and one eventually betrays the other, think of three reasons why that could be, and guarantee one of those three reasons will be the reason why Taka ultimately will turn on Mufasa in this movie. I'm not going to give it away. This is generic as it comes. I'm also not a fan of how it was narratively structured. I can buy into a prequel if there's like an introduction, and then at the end we go back to the present time of the story. This film constantly jumps in between the present day with Rafiki telling the story to Kiara, Timon, and Pumbaa, who are insufferable in this. I love Timon and Pumbaa, but they were insufferable and not needed in this, and there's a lot of telling the audience what is going to happen from Rafiki, and that lends itself to not be very impactful when we do get these sequences. That was something that really frustrated me, and the whole journey of Taka, who was born to be a king, and Mufasa, who was born as a commoner, a stray, the whole friction between the two brothers is never really built up. We rush from their first meeting to growing up together within the first 10 minutes of the movie. Then they are sent on a journey where they are both effectively orphans. There's a lot of tragedy that takes place in this movie, and it is mostly done off screen. We never really see anything up close. And when we get to expand the cast with Rafiki and Zazu and Sarabi, those elements just felt very rushed. Despite being nearly 2 hours long, it felt like there was not enough fleshing out of the brotherly relationship between Mufasa and Taka in this. And when we get to the origin of certain things, it comes across very Han Solo-esque. Remember that film Solo, where they had to establish how he got his surname Solo, how he got his pistol, how he met Chewie, how he got his infamous jacket. This had the same thing. Have you ever wondered where Rafiki got his stick from? No? Well, you get to find out in this one. Where Scar get his scar? Honestly, it's not as impactful as I wanted it to be. I expected it to be sort of a warning strike from Mufasa going into this, but it just comes across the most generic way possible. And why is Taka suddenly called Scar? That's shoehorned in right at the end. And the person who suggests it is it's almost insulting who actually suggests that they be called Scar going forward. That's all I'm going to say about that. And when it comes to the tension between the brothers, like we get a little bit of brotherly banter, and then we jump straight into the betrayal aspect, the jealousy aspect. At least they managed to tie up a loose end where you can see why Mufasa kept Taka along for the ride after what happens in the final act. But it's still a case of there's a lot of nods to the original. The music in this is Lin-Manuel Miranda, so you expect something great. The only song I think is memorable in this is the villain song very early on in the movie. That song doesn't even hold a candle to Be Prepared. I am still annoyed that they didn't allow Scar to have the full Be Prepared song in that live action remake. It's just a very generic movie, in my opinion. It doesn't do anything new, doesn't offer anything fresh or reflective, and Mufasa's journey from stray to king feels very rushed. The whole aspect of him bringing all the animals together feels very rushed and very forced for the sake of progressing the plot forward. And there's certain elements and emotional beats that are paid off that don't feel like they were built up enough throughout the course of the film's runtime. The jealousy aspects of Taka towards Mufasa, who's getting more love from him than his mother. It's just a disappointing movie for me. It's better than I expected, don't get me wrong. The voice performances are great. The technical aspects in this are brilliant. And I love the set pieces. I just didn't buy into how quick Taka would switch, considering the situation that their enemies are in at that particular moment. It just felt like this was another, we need to establish every small thing and every small origin of every small aspect of the original Lion King with some lackluster songs in a rare miss from Lin-Manuel Miranda and just a lot of nods to the original. The He Lives in You aspect is mentioned quite a lot. And honestly, you want a Lion King sequel, just go watch The Lion King 2 because that is a very underrated gem in my opinion. Like Lullaby is one of the best villain songs ever. I feel like that is a much better sequel to the original Lion King than this could ever hope to be. And unfortunately, we're never going to get a live action remake of The Lion King 2 because, well, there's a character introduced at the end of this one that makes the potential of that one happening completely moot. It's very disappointing, but it's not terrible. It's an enjoyable watch. I didn't hate it despite all my complaints. It's just another movie that had all potential in the world and chose the most safe and basic way to tell this origin story. Before I get into my grade, if you like seeing on the channel, click the like button and subscribe for more reviews that's coming all the time. Without further ado, let's grade this. It's not going to essentially resign your spine. It is a technically great movie, but in terms of the story, it is as generic as it can possibly be. And all the little Easter eggs to the original Lion King, it just makes me want to go out and watch the original Lion King again, or even just go watch it on a stage show. It just makes me long for what had come before, and it just felt like a pale imitation of it. Whilst the voice performances were all very good in this, the story gave them very little to work with, and that for me is a crying shame. I'm gonna have to say that for me, Mufasa the Lion King is a okay cup of tea. So Mufasa the Lion King, have you seen it? If you haven't, let me know you thought down in the comments below. Where would you rank your preferred Lion King iteration? Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, everybody, I am Josh, I've been Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.